Hello everyone, it's me, Clayton. I just got back from watching Aquaman. Now, the DC Extended Universe hasn't exactly had the biggest success when it comes to their films. In fact, the only one that I considered a good film from beginning to end before this was Wonder Woman. However, I consider this the second best out of the DC Cinematic Universe films because not only does Jason Momoa bring an excellent performance as the very, very cool Aquaman, but we just have a very entertaining, ridiculous, and fun superhero movie here with the film that the Protector of the Sea deserves. Let's get to the story, shall we? Our story has details the origin of Aquaman, and it also is about how he has to save the Atlantean people and the people of the surface world from his power-hungry brother named King Orm by finding a trident and getting help from a young woman named Mara. But that's all I'll say about the story without spoiling anything. So, what did I like about the film? Well, unlike most DC films of this age that tried to be way too dark and way too loaded with way too many plot points, it seems that Aquaman has learned from the sins of the past, where much like Wonder Woman, there's a lot of great comedy, there's a lot of drama where it's appropriate, but there's also just a lot of ridiculous fun action scenes because Aquaman realizes it's a ridiculous premise, you might as well make the most of it. This might be a tipping point for some people where some would think it's too ridiculous to take seriously, but in my opinion, it never goes too far. There's still a sense of sincerity to it despite the fact that you have things as ridiculous as a guy in a manta suit shooting plasma beams in Italy, or giant crab monsters fighting sharks and then throwing Atlantean soldiers into underwater ships. It's silly, but it realizes how silly it is and just rolls with it, which is what I love about it. Now, it is true. Some of the CGI in the film is really, really impressive, especially most of the stuff you get of Atlantis and all the various kingdoms in it. But some effects, such as certain wigs that characters have on or certain bits of makeup, do look really obvious and really bad. You could say that maybe adds to the campiness of it, but there's a difference between adding to the campiness of something and something that just has bad effects. Thankfully, it doesn't happen too often to completely drag you out of the experience, but it's enough to be noticeable from time to time. As far as the characters are concerned, Aquaman has always been a very entertaining character in the other films, and it's no different here. I love Jason Momoa's take on the character. King Orm, I think, was actually a pretty satisfying antagonist. I think he's very loud, he's very proud, and he's quite convincing in the action scenes. Mara is also no pushover. I like her water powers, I like the rapport she has with Aquaman, and I love how her ideals clash with his from time to time. The dialogue in the film really does help that. It's snappy, it's funny, and it manages to deal with a few issues that a film of this type naturally would, like how the underwater denizens would feel about humans. It's not something like, say, Black Panther levels of social commentary, but some of it is there, and it is welcome. And another thing that's very refreshing about this is the color in the movie. Remember how bland and lifeless most of the DC movies tend to look? This one's full of bright colors, huge explosions, a huge amount of energetic performances. It doesn't feel bland and lifeless at all. It feels exactly like a comic book film should look and feel like. In fact, with all the twists and turns in the story, it's arguably the most comic book-like out of the DC movies so far. And the fact that it embraces its ridiculous, has a lot of great action sequences, has fun with its story, and the fact that it allows for performances that are over the top without being self-deprecating makes it a really good treat. It's heavily flawed, to be sure, but it's definitely the movie that Aquaman ultimately asks for, in my opinion. And that's why I'm giving Aquaman an 8 out of 10. See you next time.